The laughter echoed through the Lumiere restaurant like breaking glass. 30 heads turned. Cutlery stopped in midair. Silence arrived before embarrassment. Rebecca Taylor, 28, sitting at the coffee table, felt the heat rising up her neck. It wasn't the first time Justin Hoffman had humiliated her in public, but it had never been like this. Never in front of so many people. "I'm serious, Becca," Justin continued, wiping his mouth with his linen napkin as if he were discussing stocks. 30 pounds. You lose it, I'll put the ring on your finger, promise. He smiled. That smile she found charming 6 months ago, when they met at a technology conference in Seattle, when he said she was different from the others, when it felt genuine. Now that smile felt like a knife. Rebecca took a deep breath. She worked as a software developer at a discreet startup, made a good living, and lived alone in a tidy apartment in Portland. I didn't need him, but he had fallen in love. Or at least he thought there was. "Justin, you're kidding, right?" His voice was firm, firmer than he expected. "Joking?" He tilted his head, feigning confusion. "Becca, I just want the best for you. Health, you know. I take care of my body. It would be nice if you took care of yours too." A woman at the next table coughed, clearly uncomfortable. A waiter looked away, but nobody said anything. Nobody ever said. Justin Hoffman was like that. Heir to an investment company worth 8 figures. Owner of a black Porsche that he always parked in a disabled space. The kind of guy who used brutal sincerity as an excuse to be cruel. He was 32 years old, with a square jaw, too much gelled hair, and that irritating confidence of someone who has never been denied in his life. Rebecca knew this guy, grew up surrounded by them, but 6 months ago, Justin had been different. I had asked about her work. He had laughed at her jokes. He had said she was refreshing. Lie, all lies. Because in the last few weeks the comments have started, small at first. "Are you going to eat all of this?" Or, "Are you sure you need dessert?" Then they became more direct, more cruel, until that moment arrived. In that restaurant, that ridiculous proposal, 30 kilos, as if she were a project, as if love had a minimum required weight. Rebecca felt something shift inside her. It wasn't shame, it was clarity. That cold clarity that comes when you finally see the truth. "I understood." She calmly folded the napkin and placed it on the table. "Thank you for being so honest." Justin blinked, surprised by the lack of drama. "I expected tears. I expected despair. I expected her to beg, to promise to change, to say she would do anything. But Rebecca just stood up. "Where are you going?" he asked, voice rising half a pitch. The mask of confidence trembled. "Home." She took the bag. "Enjoy your dessert. I'll pay my share." "Becca, don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" For the first time she smiled, and Justin didn't like that smile. There was something about him, something dangerous, something he didn't recognize. "I've never been so lucid in my life." She turned her back and started walking towards the exit. Every step was a statement. Every step burned the bridges. Justin stood there, caught between anger and confusion. He had never been left. Never. He was always the one who finished. He was always the one in control. "You'll regret it," he screamed, too loudly. People looked. Now he was the center of attention, and he didn't like it. "No one will want you, Becca. No one." Rebecca stopped at the door. For a second, Justin thought she would come back, that I would apologize, that I would beg for another chance, but she just looked over her shoulder. Her eyes were ice. "We'll see about that," and left. What Justin didn't know, what no one there knew, was that Rebecca Taylor wasn't just any developer. She had a side project, something that I had been building in the early hours of the morning, on weekends, in the hours stolen from sleep. An app, a platform, something revolutionary. 3 months ago, she had presented the idea to a group of investors in San Francisco. They had loved it. They offered funding, lots of funding, but she asked for time. I wanted to be sure. Now he was sure. That night, Rebecca got home, turned on her laptop and opened the email she had been saving for weeks. "I accept the offer. Let's talk Monday." It's sent. Then he opened a folder on the desktop, a file called Phoenix Project. Inside it, there were prints of conversations, lots of conversations, between Justin and other women, during their relationship. Rebecca was no fool. I had discovered it 3 weeks ago, but he didn't confront it. Waited, observed, collected evidence. Because Rebecca Taylor had learned one thing from working with code: patience is a superpower, and timing is everything. She looked at computer screen, then to its own reflection in the dark glass of the window. 30 kilos, she muttered, laughing to herself. He has no idea what he just lost. And over the next 3 months, Justin Hoffman would discover that humiliating the wrong person could cost a lot more than 30 pounds. It could cost everything. If you're enjoying this story and want to see what Rebecca will do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what comes now, Justin is not prepared. Monday, 9 a.m. Rebecca walked into the Technova office with the same bag as always. the same iced coffee in her hand, the same calm expression. Nobody noticed that anything had changed, but it had. She sat down at her workstation, turned on both monitors and opened the code for the project she had been developing for 8 months, an artificial intelligence system for corporate recruiting that eliminated unconscious bias. Companies would pay fortunes for that. But before diving into work, he checked his cell phone. 7 messages from Justin. Becca, I'm sorry, I overreacted. You know I love you, right? Stop being proud. Can we talk today? Are you ignoring me on purpose? Oh, no, that's childish. Answer. Okay, if that's how you want to play. Rebecca blocked the number. Just like that. Then he opened his Instagram. Public, of course. Justin loved showing off his perfect life. Photos at the gym, photos on Dad's yacht, photos with the Porsche, and a new photo, posted 2 hours ago. Justin at a different restaurant, with a blonde, grin, caption, moving forward. Life is too short for those who don't value themselves. Rebecca should be furious. I should have been devastated, but he just smiled, because Justin was predictable, totally predictable. Rebecca? She turned. It was Marcus Chen, the senior developer on the team. Asian, thin, round glasses. One of the few people in the office who treated her like people. Are you okay? It feels different. I am great. And for the first time in months, it was true. Marcus tilted his head, curious. I broke up with Justin. Finally, Marcus almost shouted, making half the office look. He lowered his voice. I'm sorry, but this guy was an idiot. Everyone knew. Everyone knew, and no one said anything? You seemed happy. Or, we thought you were. Rebecca sighed. I thought so too. Marcus pulled out a chair and sat down next to her. Look, I don't usually get involved in other people's business, but that guy was always a jerk. Remember the New Year's Eve party? He made 3 jokes about his weight in front of his boss. 3. I counted. I remember. How to forget. And you just smiled. I kept thinking, why does she put up with this? Rebecca looked at the computer screen. Because I thought he would change. That if I was patient, understanding, he would realize he was wrong. People like that don't change, Rebecca. They only get worse. She knew. I always knew. But hearing it from someone else helped. Thank you, Marcus. You're welcome. And if you need a lawyer to sue him for being an asshole, my cousin is an expert. Rebecca laughed. I'll keep the information. Marcus returned to his station, but before putting on the phone, he said, You deserve better, much better, and left. Rebecca stood there looking at her reflection on the unlit monitor. Marcus was right. She deserved better, and he was going to make it. That afternoon, at 3 p.m., she had a video conference meeting with the San Francisco investors. 3 men, 1 woman, all serious, all millionaires. Rebecca, we have reviewed your proposal, said the woman, Patricia Grant, CEO of Grant Ventures, and we want to invest $2 million in your startup, but we need exclusivity. You leave Technova and focus on that. $2 million. Rebecca had expected 100,000, maybe 200, but $2 million? That changed everything. I accept. Patricia smiled. Great. Our lawyer will send you the contract by Thursday. Welcome to Silicon Valley, Rebecca. The call ended. Rebecca sat silently processing. She had done it. Really achieved. But before celebrating, he heard the cell phone notification. A message from an unknown number. Hi, Rebecca. I'm Amanda. We don't know each other, but I need to talk to you about Justin. Rebecca frowned. Who are you? His ex. The one who came before you. Rebecca's stomach tightened. What do you want? Warn you, he does this to everyone. He meets, praises, conquers, and when you really fall in love, he starts to destroy your self-esteem, especially if you're not the standard he wants. I was too fat. The girl before me was too old. The next one will be something else. Rebecca felt her anger rising. Why didn't you warn me sooner? Because you wouldn't believe it. No one believes until they live. But now that you broke up with him, I thought I should know the truth. He's not just an asshole, he's dangerous. He destroys women for fun. Rebecca took a deep breath. Thanks for telling me. You're welcome. And Rebecca, don't let him come back. Because he'll try. He always does. The conversation is over. Rebecca stared at her phone, the pieces of the puzzle finally falling into place. Justin wasn't just immature. It wasn't just cruel. He was calculating, premeditated, and she would no longer be his victim. That night, Rebecca came home, made a list. Everything Justin had done, all the humiliations, all the lies, all the signs she ignored. And then, with the surgical calm of someone who has worked with code for years, he began to put together a plan, because Justin Hoffman was going to find out that there are consequences, and Rebecca Taylor would be the one to teach them. What Justin didn't know, yet, was that Rebecca had something he never had: real intelligence and patience. Over the next few days, he would continue posting photos with the blonde. I would keep laughing. I would still think I had won. But in 3 months, when everything fell apart, he would look back and realize his mistake was underestimating the wrong woman. 2 weeks later, Rebecca signed the contract with Grant Ventures on a rainy Tuesday. $2 million, 25% stake in the company, office in the heart of San Francisco. She resigned from Technova the next day. The boss, a middle-aged man with a beer belly and an ego the size of a skyscraper, looked almost offended. "Are you sure, Rebecca? Startups fail all the time. Here you have stability." Stability, the word that mediocre people use to justify their own cowardice. "I am sure." Marcus was the only one who really celebrated. He hugged her as she left, whispered in her ear, "Go out there and crush everyone." She promised she would. But before moving to California, Rebecca had unfinished business. Justin. She hadn't spoken to him since that night at the Lumiere. He had tried to contact me about 10 more times, messages on Instagram from fake accounts, emails, even a letter delivered to the lobby of her building, all ignored. But Rebecca knew it wouldn't last. Men like Justin didn't accept being ignored. They always came back. They always tried to regain control. And on Friday night, he came back. Rebecca was leaving the building with 2 moving boxes when she saw the black Porsche parked out front, engine running. Justin leaning against the hood, arms crossed, that smug smile on his face. "Hi, Becca." She stopped. He took a deep breath. "What do you want, Justin?" "To talk." He pushed his body forward, getting closer. "You disappeared. You blocked me. Now it turns out that you quit your job, that you're moving, and I have to find out by chance? We broke up. You have no right to know anything about my life." Justin laughed, that condescending laugh she hated. "Becca, stop. You're hurt, I understand. I was too harsh that night, but I just wanted to help you." "Help me?" Rebecca placed the boxes on the floor. "You humiliated me in a crowded restaurant. You told me you would only marry me if I lost 30 pounds. That's not help. That's cruelty. Cruelty is a strong word. And lies? What do you call that?" "Because I know about other women, Justin. I know everything." His smile faltered. "Just a second." But he faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Amanda, the ex before me. She told me everything." Rebecca crossed her arms, and I went after it. I found 3 more, all with the same story. You meet them, they seduce them, they destroy their self-esteem, then they throw them away. Justin shrugged, as if discussing the weather. "Dramatic women love to make up stories. 4 different women, same story. This isn't drama. It's standard." He sighed, running a hand through his gelled hair. "Look, Becca, I didn't come here to discuss the past. I came to make you a proposal. I don't care. Wait." He raised his hands theatrically. "Just listen to me. I made a mistake, okay? I admit it. I was an idiot, but I changed. I really do, and I want you back. We can start over. I promise it will be different." Rebecca looked into his eyes. He sought sincerity. He looked for remorse. He didn't find anything. "No." "No?" Justin blinked, confused, as if the word didn't make sense. "No, we're not going to start over. And you know why? Because I finally understood something. You don't love me. You never did. You just like to control, to diminish, to have someone who depends on you. This is ridiculous. And I'm not that person anymore." Rebecca took the boxes back. "Now get out of the way. I have a change to make." Justin didn't leave. He stood there, blocking the way, his jaw tense, his hands clenched. And for the first time, Rebecca saw what had always been there. Anger, pure rage. "Do you think you're better than me?" He spat out the words. "Do you think you'll find someone better? Look at you, Becca. Look, you're fat. You're ordinary. You should be thanking me for paying attention to you." Rebecca smiled, in that calm way. "Dak, that's a dangerous way. You know the difference between me and you, Justin? I built something. I created it. I have talent. What about you? You only have Daddy's money. Take that away and you're nothing." His face turned red. "You're going to regret this." "No, I won't." Rebecca passed him, put the boxes in the car. Justin stood there, vibrating with helpless rage. Before getting into the car, she looked at him one last time. "Oh, and Justin, that app I showed you 3 months ago? The one you said was cute, but wouldn't do anything? I just got $2 million invested, so thank you for motivating me to prove you wrong." She got into the car and drove away. Justin stood there alone in the parking lot, his ego bleeding. But Rebecca wasn't thinking about him anymore. I was thinking about the next step, because in the last fortnight, while Justin thought he had won, she had done much more than sign contracts. She had investigated his father's company, the dirty deals, tax fraud, the bribes, and he had found proof, lots of evidence. Rebecca was not vindictive by nature, but I had learned one thing working with technology. Information is power, and she had a lot of information. That night, driving to San Francisco, Rebecca called someone, a number that Amanda, Justin's ex, had passed. "Hello? Hi. Are you the tax lawyer? My name is Rebecca Taylor, and I have some information that might be of interest to the IRS." On the other end of the line, silence. Then, interest. "I'm listening." Rebecca smiled in the dark of the car. Because Justin Hoffman was going to learn a lesson that his father's money never taught. There are people you shouldn't underestimate, and Rebecca Taylor was one of them. 3 months later, Justin Hoffman was having the worst day of his life. It started with a call at 6 a.m., federal revenue, complete audit at father's company, documents being seized, frozen accounts. Then came the notification from the bank, credit card declined, limit blocked, investigation underway. And then, at 10 a.m., the final bombshell. An article on TechCrunch. Rebecca Taylor, the new promise of Silicon Valley. Startup receives $15 million in new round of investments. Justin read it 3 times. It couldn't be true, but it was. There was a photo. Rebecca on stage, performing to a packed audience, smiling, trusting, radiant, and next to her, Patricia Grant. Patricia Grant, billionaire, most respected investor on the West Coast. The caption read, Taylor developed an AI system that is already being used by 200 Fortune 500 companies. The startup is projected to reach a valuation of $100 million in 18 months. Justin felt his stomach drop. $15 million. He had called her project cute. He had laughed. He had said that she should focus on losing weight instead of wasting time on computer hobbies. And now she was on the cover of TechCrunch. Justin threw his cell phone at the wall. The screen cracked. It didn't matter. He had 3, but the anger didn't go away, because deep down, he knew the truth. Rebecca had won, and he had lost. That afternoon, Justin was called into his father's office. Walter Hoffman, 63, a self-made man who built an investment empire, sat behind the enormous desk, his hands clasped, his face a mask of disappointment. Sit. Justin sat down. The IRS is investigating us for tax evasion. Someone sent anonymous documents, internal documents, contracts that I thought were buried. Justin swallowed. How is this possible? Good question. Walter leaned his body forward. And you know what's funny? The documents were accompanied by a letter. No signature. Just one sentence. Arrogance always takes its toll. Justin felt his blood run cold. No, it couldn't be. Do you know anyone who would have access to these documents, Justin? Someone you might have upset? Justin didn't respond, because the answer was clear. Rebecca. But how? She never had access to the company's files. She was just a developer. She had no connections or had it. Walter sighed. You're going to have to testify, and you'll probably get a few years probation. I paid the best lawyers, but this will tarnish our name. Forever. Justin stumbled out of the office. How had she managed it? But the answer came that night when he opened his laptop and saw an email. Sender, anonymous. Subject, you should have been more careful. Email body. Hi Justin. Remember when you introduced me to your father? Remember when you left me alone in his office while you went to get wine? I didn't just sit around waiting. I'm a developer. Remember? I know how systems work. I know how to access servers. And I know how to find things that shouldn't be found. 3 years of tax fraud, false documents, bribes, everything there, everything saved. I wouldn't use it. I swear I wouldn't. I just kept it as safe. But then you humiliated me in a crowded restaurant. You told me that I would only be worthy of you if I lost 30 kilos, treated me like dirt, and I realized men like you never learn unless they suffer real consequences. So consider this a lesson. The best revenge is not losing weight to prove anything to you. It's watching you lose everything while I build my empire. Oh, and about that blonde in the photos, she also looked for me. Apparently you made the same promises to her. Funny, right? Good luck with the IRS. Yours sincerely, the woman you underestimated. Justin read the email 5 times. Then he read it again, and again. The hands were shaking. She had planned everything, from the beginning. She was not a victim. He was a strategist. Justin tried to respond to the email. He typed 3 paragraphs. It went out. Tried again. It went out. There was nothing to say, because she had won. Completely. The following week, the news spread. The Hoffman Company was being investigated. Customers started to leave. Canceled contracts. Stocks plummeting. And Justin? Justin was seen on the blonde's Instagram. Former blonde now. She had posted a video crying, saying she was deceived by a married man. Married. Justin had lied to her too. And now everyone knew. The comments were merciless. This guy is trash. Karma is real. Women, run away from this guy. Justin locked down social media. He locked his cell phone. He locked his life away. But I couldn't lock away the truth. He had destroyed the only woman who truly cared about him, and now she was on top. As he sank. That Friday, Rebecca was in San Francisco, at a technology event, main stage, 1,000 people in the audience. She took the stage in a simple black dress, hair down without excessive makeup, and he spoke. I grew up believing that my worth was in my weight, that if I wasn't thin, I wouldn't be loved, I wouldn't be respected, I wouldn't be anything. The audience was silent, and for a long time I believed that. until I met someone who confirmed all my fears. Someone who said I would only be worthy if I changed my body. Rebecca paused. And you know what I did? I changed, but not my body. I changed my perspective. I changed my focus. And I built something that no one can take away from me. Applause. Lots of applause. So to all the women who have ever been belittled, humiliated, or underestimated, the problem was never you. It was always whoever judged you. The audience stood up, standing ovation, and somewhere, in a dark apartment in Portland, Justin was watching it all on his laptop, and for the first time in years, he cried, because he had lost so much more than Rebecca. He had lost his chance to be someone better. 6 months later, Justin Hoffman's life had become an endless bureaucratic nightmare. His father's company went bankrupt, not completely but enough to hurt. Important customers disappeared, investors bailed. The name Hoffman, which previously opened doors, now closed them. Justin had to sell the Porsche. He had to leave the penthouse apartment. He had to accept a job as a consultant at a medium-sized firm that hired him only because his father begged him to. And every time he opened the internet, he saw the same thing. Rebecca Taylor. Forbes. 30 under 30. Rebecca Taylor revolutionizes corporate recruiting. TechCrunch. Rebecca Taylor's startup hits a $120 million valuation. Wired. How a Portland developer built the future of HR. She was everywhere. And Justin? Justin was invisible. The women who previously responded to his messages now left him in a vacuum. The parties that used to invite him now forgot about him. The world that revolved around him simply stopped. That Tuesday, Justin was in a cheap coffee shop in Portland, drinking a watery espresso when he saw it. Rebecca. She entered accompanied by 2 people. One was Patricia Grant. The other was Marcus Chen, now CTO of her startup. Rebecca was different, not in the body. She continued the same way, but there was something about the posture, in the way he walked, in the way people looked at her. Respect, admiration, envy, everything Justin ever had and lost. She didn't see him, or pretended not to see, but Marcus saw it and smiled. That smile of someone who knows exactly what happened. Justin lowered his head, hid his face behind his cup, and he felt, for the first time in his life, the bitter taste of irrelevance. Meanwhile, Rebecca was closing a contract with one of the biggest technology companies in the world. $50 million, strategic partnership, international expansion. Congratulations, Rebecca, Patricia said, raising her wine glass. You did in 1 year what most take 10. Rebecca smiled. I had extra motivation. Marcus laughed. Is that idiot Justin still around? I don't know. I don't think about him. And it was true, because Justin had been alone, a footnote in her story, an obstacle, a lesson, but not the reason. The reason was always herself. That night, Rebecca returned to her apartment in San Francisco, a modern loft, huge windows, views of the Golden Gate Bridge. She sat on the couch, took out her cell phone, and saw a message from Amanda. I saw the Forbes article. You're amazing. Thank you for inspiring me. Rebecca smiled. Then he opened Instagram, not to post, just to see. And there was Justin. Last post. 3 months ago, a generic sunset photo, no subtitles, 23 likes. Rebecca could have commented. I could have sent a message. I could have rubbed the victory in his face, but he didn't. Because the best revenge is not humiliating those who humiliated you. It's building a life so incredible that they become irrelevant. The following week, Rebecca was invited to give a talk at a university in Portland. The auditorium was packed, 500 people, mostly young, mostly women. She got on stage, adjusted the microphone, and began. I want to tell you a story about the night that changed my life. The audience leaned forward. I was in a restaurant with someone I thought I loved, and he told me he would only marry me if I lost 30 pounds. Murmurs, shock, indignation. I could have cried. I could have begged. I could have promised to change, but I did something different. I got up and I walked away. Applause. Because at that moment I understood something. The problem was never my body. It was always his arrogance, and everyone else's who thinks they can measure someone else's worth by appearance. The audience exploded. So I built a company that's worth over $100 million, a company that's changing lives. And you know what's funny? That guy, he lost everything, not because of me, but because arrogance always takes its toll. Standing ovation. Rebecca waited for silence to return. So for everyone here who has ever been underestimated, humiliated, or rejected for something they can't or won't change, this isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable, that you're strong, that you're enough. Tears. Lots of tears. And when you succeed, when you reach the top, don't look down to laugh at whoever knocked you down. Look ahead, because life is too short to waste it on little people. The audience stood up. He shouted. He cried. And at the back of the auditorium, hidden in the last row, Justin watched everything. He had come out of curiosity, for masochism, out of some sick need to see what she had become, and now he was here, watching the woman he humiliated being applauded by hundreds of people, seeing her shine, seeing her win, and realizing too late that he had thrown away the only real person who had ever been in his life. When the talk was over, Justin tried to leave discreetly, but Rebecca saw him. Their eyes met for a second. He expected anger. I expected triumph. I expected revenge. But all he saw was indifference. And that hurt more than any humiliation, because indifference meant she had moved on, and he was still stuck in the past. Rebecca turned her back and walked away, surrounded by fans, admirers, people who truly respected her, and Justin stood there, alone in the empty auditorium, realizing that some defeats have no return. 3 years later, Rebecca was on the cover of Time magazine, the woman who revolutionized the job market. His company was worth $500 million. It had offices in 15 countries. It employed 3,000 people. And Justin worked in a gray office, earning an average salary. No Porsche, no glamour, no nothing. Sometimes, when he was alone, he would open his cell phone and look for news about Rebecca, not out of anger, but out of regret, because he had finally understood the lesson that cost him everything. When you measure someone's worth by their appearance, you miss the chance to see what really matters. And when that happens, you don't just lose the person, you lose the version of yourself that could have been better. Rebecca never thought about Justin again, because she had learned the most important lesson of all. The best revenge is not destroying those who hurt you. It's building a life so extraordinary that they become just a distant memory. And live well. Very good. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we all deserve to remember, prejudice never defeats dignity, and arrogance always takes its toll.